have an awesome life, and you can be manifesting way beyond what you've been manifesting. You can be creating outcomes that are truly spectacular for you and for others. I'm Maureen Kitchur. I'm a consulting psychotherapist, trainer, and author of the 6 Quantum Secrets to an Amazing Life. And I teach people how to find and resolve what gets in the way of creating a really awesome and spectacular life. And along the way, I have learned this one major truth that I want to share with you in this video. And that is that the secret to stepping into a magical feedback loop with the universe and a magical relationship with the universe that spills out in the form of abundance in your life and in the lives of the people you touch. The secret is in 2 parts: love abundantly and love unconditionally. And when you do this, you create magic. I want to share with you a short story about how I learned this very powerfully in my own life a few years ago. I had been traveling and teaching all over North America for many years, hit a terrible roadblock in the form of a medical crisis that forced me to have emergency surgery and laid me low and devastated me, actually for a number of years after the surgery. I grieved and lived in despair over the things I had to give up, including teaching, which took too much energy. And one day, in absolute despair, I got down on my knees in my living room, not something that I often do, and I said, God, universe, I know that you have an abundant plan for me, and I want to live out that plan. And I know that I want to teach again, and I want to ask you to support me in manifesting that outcome. And I said, I have a few conditions that I can think to interweave. I would like to not have to advertise or market. I don't have the energy. I'd like to just show up and teach what I know how to teach. And I would like to ask that I would be able to teach on a global stage, because that would save some energy and some time if I could reach many, many people in a short space of time. And I said, universe, I don't know how you're going to accomplish this when I'm so depleted and so laid low, but I'm going to do what I know how to do, which is run my practice, live my life, and love unconditionally as I go. And so, not long after this prayer, intention, and meditation, I got a pivotal phone call in my life from a woman in another city who asked me if I would come and help to heal her adult child who had lived with decades of unresolved childhood abuse. In my depleted state, I was trying to think if somebody else might be able to help her, when I was in receipt of 2 pieces of information that told me that the universe was knocking on my door. One, that she was dying and she wanted this healing to occur before she died. And 2, that she couldn't afford to pay me. And in that moment, I knew that the universe was calling me to love unconditionally. So I called a colleague in her city. I arranged borrowed office space. I arranged a seat sale. And a few months later, I went. The act of extending myself to love abundantly and love unconditionally resulted in the following unfolding of amazing events for me. The healing for the client went in a quarter of the time that I had budgeted, and the client left with a spectacularly different sense of what was now possible in life. 2, that gave time for my colleague and I to go for an extended lunch, which turned into a consultation at her request on a particular clinical specialty that I happened to have. At the end of which she said, Maureen, I think my friends at the United Nations need to know about this subject. Do you mind if I have them call you? Wow, I would be honored, I said. And so they did, not once but twice. They scheduled a lengthy telephone interview with me a month or so later. And at the end of which, they asked if I would be willing to commit to come and speak at the UN. And they said, Maureen, there'd be nothing you need to do except show up and teach. We'll look after the airfare, the hotel, advertising within the UN. All you need to do is show up and teach. And in that moment, there was my intention served up on a silver platter. As a result of extending myself to love unconditionally when it was a little bit of a stretch for me to do so, all of the other conditions unfolded to put me in the right place at the right time to receive an invitation that would then allow me to go on and share some information with about 40 nations who went away with some critical information that they needed for social policy setting. And what I learned through that process was that when you love abundantly and love unconditionally, the universe steps in and amplifies everything you do to create spectacular outcomes for you and for everybody who is attached to that intention. So my call to action to you, my message to you is that you can do this. Go and love abundantly, love unconditionally, love wisely, but love abundantly and unconditionally. And watch the magic start to happen. I know you can do this. I want you to have an awesome life. So go and do it.